Eli wasn't a morning person. The small apartment he shared aboard Orbital Station 9 was quiet except for the faint hum of ventilation and the soft blinking lights from the control panels near his bed. His alarm hadn't even gone off yet when something unusual made him stir. Strange weight pressed lightly against his chest at first. He thought it was a heavy blanket or one of the station's pressure fluctuations. But then he heard soft breathing, felt movement, and slowly opened his eyes. A pair of glowing silver-blue eyes stared right into his alien roommate. Lyra was kneeling on top of him technically straddling him, her expression filled with panic and confusion. Eli blinked, his sleepy brain struggling to process what he was seeing. Lyra's silver skin reflected the dim light of the room, her long pale hair falling forward like a curtain of starlight. Her hands were shaking as she held a small circular device over his chest. "Don't move," she said quickly, her voice soft but firm. Eli froze. "Lyra, what are you doing?" he asked carefully, his voice dry from sleep. "It's reading something," she murmured. "Please, stay still. I don't want to lose the signal." The device hummed, glowing faintly. Eli watched the blue light pulse against his shirt, unsure whether to be worried or embarrassed. He had lived with Lyra for almost 6 months, and though she was quiet and reserved, she had never acted like this before. The light turned red, then flickered to purple. Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief. She looked down at the device, then back at him. Her lips parted slightly, and her voice trembled. "You're compatible," she whispered. Eli blinked again, completely lost. "Compatible? With what?" Lyra seemed unable to answer. She stepped back suddenly, almost falling off the bed, clutching the device like it was dangerous. Her usually calm expression was gun replaced by shock, almost fear. He sat up, rubbing his forehead. "Lyra, what's going on? You're acting like you found a ghost." For a moment she didn't speak. Then she looked at him with wide eyes. "I wasn't supposed to test you," she said quietly. "It was a mistake. I just wanted to confirm something for my research. But this result, it shouldn't be possible." Eli frowned. "Okay, you're scaring me now. What do you mean shouldn't be possible?" Lyra hesitated, as if struggling to find the right words in human language. "It means," she said slowly, "your body shares the same resonance frequency as mine." He stared blankly. "You mean, like energy?" "Yes," she replied. "The energy signature that defines our species, our life force, are linked to each other. Humans shouldn't have it, but you do. And worse." Her voice dropped lower. "It matches mine." Eli gave a small laugh, thinking it must be a misunderstanding. "So you're saying we're tuned to the same radio channel?" Lyra didn't laugh. "In a way," she said seriously, "but to the Velinari this means something much deeper." The name of her species rolled through Eli's memory. He had read about them before, the Velinari, tall, graceful beings with telepathic sensitivity and energy-based biology. They were known for forming something called a bond thread, connection between two individuals that allowed shared emotion and thought. But that only happened between members of their own kind. "Wait," he said slowly, realization dawning. "You're saying humans can't have this bond thing, right?" Lyra nodded. Until now I would have said yes. She looked down at the small glowing device again as if it had betrayed her. Her hands were still trembling slightly. Eli tried to lighten the mood. "Well, maybe your scanner's broken. You know how this station's tech can be. Yesterday, my coffee dispenser thought I was a toaster." But Lyra didn't smile. She was staring at him, deep in thought, her silvery eyes reflecting his confused expression. "It's not broken," she said softly. "It's real," he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "All right, let's say it's real. What does it actually mean?" Lyra hesitated again, then whispered, "It means that on Velinari worlds, if two signatures align perfectly, it means they are life-bonded." Eli froze. "Life-bonded? That sounds serious," as Lyra said simply. "It's a connection for life. Shared emotion, shared instinct, shared energy. It's not something we choose. It happens rarely, once in thousands of cycles. and it has never, ever happened between a Velinari and a human. For a moment, the room was silent. The air felt heavier somehow, filled with tension neither of them understood. Lyra stepped back, clutching her scanner tightly. "I need to report this," she murmured. "The council has to know." "Wait," Eli said, standing up quickly. "You're not reporting me as some experiment, are you?" Her gaze softened slightly. "No, but this discovery could change everything we know about interspecies biology. It might also be dangerous." Eli didn't like the sound of that. He rubbed the back of his neck and sighed. "All right, look. Let's just take it slow, okay? No more morning surprises with glowing devices. Deal." Lyra gave a small nod, though she still looked uneasy. She moved toward the door silently and paused. "You don't understand what this means yet," she said quietly. "But I do, and it scares me." And she left the room. The rest of the day was strange. Eli tried to go about his normal routine, checking the reactor systems, repairing power lines, helping traders adjust their ship couplings, but he couldn't stop thinking about the morning. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lyra's glowing eyes, heard her whisper, "You're compatible." That night, when he came back, the apartment felt colder. Lyra was sitting at the small metal table, her datapad glowing faintly. She didn't look up as he entered. "You're still mad about this morning, huh?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not mad. Just confused. And worried." Eli poured himself a drink of water, sat down across from her, and leaned forward. "Then tell me what's going on. I'm not a scientist, but I can handle weird stuff. I work in space, remember?" Lyra hesitated, then finally spoke. "On my world," she said softly, "our life bonds are not just emotional. They are biological. When Velinari connect, their bodies adapt to each other. They share energy. They even begin to mirror each other's emotions and thoughts." "That sounds intense," Eli said carefully. "It is," Lyra replied, "and dangerous if unbalanced. If one side rejects the connection, it can cause great harm." Eli frowned. "So what are you saying? That if this bond thing is real, one of us could get hurt?" Lyra looked up finally, her silver eyes filled with emotion. Not hurt, changed. For a while, neither spoke. The silence of the station filled the room. Outside the window, the stars glimmered like distant sparks. Lyra finally sighed. "When I came to live here, I didn't expect this. My mission was to study human technology, not form connections." Eli smiled faintly. "You say that like you're stuck with me." She tilted her head. "Perhaps I am." There was something in her voice that made Eli pause. Not fear, not anger, something else. Something like curiosity. After a moment, he leaned back and looked out the window. "Well," he said quietly, "if the universe decided to link us somehow, maybe it's trying to tell us something." Lyra looked at him with a puzzled expression. What could it possibly be trying to say? Eli shrugged. "Maybe it wants us to stop being scared of each other." For the first time that day, Lyra's lips curved into the faintest smile. It was small, uncertain, but real. "You have a strange way of seeing things, human," she said softly. He chuckled. "You'll get used to it." Later that night, as Eli lay in bed, he couldn't sleep. Every light in the room seemed sharper, every sound clearer. His mind was racing. He remembered Lyra's trembling hands, her wide eyes, her whisper, "You're compatible." What did that really mean? Was it science or something deeper? He didn't know. But one thing he did know: since that moment, he had felt different. When he closed his eyes, he could almost sense something faint, like a soft hum in the back of his mind. Gentle but constant. It wasn't a sound, more like an awareness. And sometimes he thought he could feel emotions that weren't his. Small things, curiosity, warmth, a flicker of sadness. He sat up, breathing slowly. "Lyra," he called out quietly. No answer. Her door was closed, the faint blue light beneath it pulsing softly. He hesitated, then stood up and walked to her door. He didn't knock, just stood there for a moment. The hum in his chest grew stronger. Then her voice came softly through the door. "You feel it too, don't you?" Eli froze. "You can tell?" "Yes," she said quietly. "It's faint, but it's there. The connection has already started." He didn't know what to say. The idea scared him and fascinated him at the same time. Lyra continued speaking, her voice gentle. "You don't have to be afraid. Whatever this is, I won't let it harm you. I promise." "Not afraid," he said softly. "Just curious." There was silence for a long moment. Then she said something that made his heart skip a beat. "Eli, when I said you're compatible, I didn't mean only in energy." Her voice was trembling slightly, filled with emotion. "It means our lives are now connected in ways we don't yet understand." The hum inside him grew stronger, like a second heartbeat. Eli didn't reply. He didn't need to. Somehow, deep down, he already understood what she meant. Outside, the stars shimmered beyond the window, and in that quiet space station room, something unseen, connected to very different beings. Something that neither science nor reason could explain. And though Eli didn't know it yet, that morning's strange encounter was only the beginning of a story that would change the fate of both their worlds forever. Eli woke to the familiar hum of Orbital Station 9, but this time the air felt charged, almost electric. The morning light filtered through the small window, illuminating the room in soft, pale tones. He stretched and blinked, trying to shake off the remnants of sleep. But before he could even get out of bed, he felt it again, the faint, almost imperceptible tug inside his chest. Lyra was already awake, sitting cross-legged on the table near the window, her glowing silver-blue eyes tracking him carefully. The device from yesterday lay between them, silent now, its lights dim. "Morning," Eli said cautiously, not wanting to provoke another straddling incident. Lyra's lips curved slightly, but she didn't respond. Instead, she tilted her head, her gaze soft yet intense, and motioned for him to sit. Eli obeyed, curiosity outweighing his grogginess. "I've been thinking," Lyra began, her voice low and measured. "About the connection." Eli raised an eyebrow. "You mean the whole we're bonded thing?" "Yes," she said. "It's not just biological. It's emotional, psychological, and even spiritual, in a way." Eli frowned. "Spiritual? Come on, Lyra. We're on a space station." "There's no magic here." Lyra's eyes softened. "I don't even mean magic, I mean the kind of bond that changes everything about how two beings perceive life. Normally, this only happens between two Velinari. But you," she hesitated, "you are different, and I don't know what it will do." Eli leaned back, processing her words. The hum inside him, the strange resonance he had felt since the morning, seemed to respond to her voice. It pulsed, faint but undeniable. "I feel it too," he admitted quietly. "This tug. I don't know why it's happening, but it's real, and it's stronger when you're around." Lyra's lips parted in surprise. "You can feel it?" "Yes," he said. "It's like a shadow of emotion. Sometimes happiness, sometimes sadness, and sometimes, I swear, it's like I can almost sense your thoughts." Her eyes widened. "Eli, that's exactly what a life bond does." He leaned forward, intrigued despite his lingering apprehension. "So, what does that mean for us?" Lyra looked down at her hands, folding them in her lap. "It means we are linked in ways no human or Velinari has ever experienced. Our energy resonates together. Our emotions can influence each other. And it grows stronger every day." Eli frowned. "Sounds like a lot of responsibility." "It is," Lyra admitted. "And it can be dangerous if mismanaged. If one of us rejects the bond, it could disrupt both of our systems. Make us sick, or worse." Eli swallowed. "Worse?" Lyra shook her head. "I don't know exactly. There's no precedent. You're the first human to ever show this signature." The hum inside Eli's chest intensified. He could almost hear it now, a faint vibration that seemed to match his heartbeat. He placed a hand over his chest and felt it resonate in response to Lyra's subtle movements across the room. I think I'm starting to understand, he said. This isn't just some experiment. It's real, and it's happening to us. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, and the Council will not take this lightly if they find out. Eli frowned. The Council. The Galactic Council, Lyra explained. They govern interactions between species in this sector. They regulate research, trade, and anything that could threaten interspecies stability. If they discover a human bonded to a Velinary, they may try to separate us. They may even quarantine you, or me. I don't know the consequences yet. Bly felt a knot in his stomach. You're saying this? Could be dangerous for both of us, even if we don't want it to be. Yes, she said simply. But it doesn't have to be. For a moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the faint hum of the station and the soft flicker of lights. Eli's mind raced. He had never expected his quiet life as a human engineer to take such a dramatic turn. And yet there was something exhilarating about it. Lyra finally spoke again. I think the first step is understanding each other. Fully. You need to know what it feels like. I need to know what it means for you. And perhaps we can control it together. Eli nodded. All right. Where do we start? Lyra smiled faintly. We start by sharing thoughts. The words made Eli pause. Sharing thoughts? You mean like telepathy? Yes, Lyra said. But gentler. I will not force anything. You may feel faint echoes of my thoughts, and I may feel echoes of yours. It will be subtle at first. We have to practice slowly. Eli hesitated, but curiosity won. Fine, I'll try. But if it's weird, I'm stopping. Lyra extended her hand. Trust me, I won't hurt you. He took her hand, and the moment their palms touched, he felt a warmth spread through his chest. The hum intensified, flowing from his heart outward, connecting him to her in a way he couldn't describe. His vision blurred for a second as faint impressions of her thoughts slipped into his mind. She's nervous, afraid I'll reject her. But curious too. Eli blinked. The thought wasn't his, yet it resonated perfectly. He realized he could sense her emotion sphere, hesitation, and an odd sense of hope. Whoa, he whispered. I can feel you. Lyra nodded, her own pulse quickening. And I can feel you. Not just your thoughts. Your feelings. They're strong. For hours they practiced. Small things at first. Joy at seeing a glowing sunset from the station window. Confusion over simple tasks. Frustration with malfunctioning equipment. But soon, deeper emotions began to surface: anxiety, longing, curiosity, and even laughter. Eli laughed aloud when he sensed Lyra's amusement at a glitchy maintenance drone spinning in circles. I feel that, he said, grinning. Lyra's lips curved into a real smile for the first time since yesterday. Good, that's the beginning. As the days passed, the connection grew. Eli began to sense her presence even when she wasn't in the same room. When she walked into the kitchen, he could feel her approach, a faint pull in his chest. A soft warmth spreading through him. Lyra noticed it too. It's reacting to proximity now, she whispered one evening, as they shared a quiet meal. Our energy. It responds to each other. Eli nodded, fascinated. It's like we're linked in real time, yes, Lyra said softly, and it will only grow stronger. But their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. Station sensors detected fluctuations in their combined energy. Alarms were mild at first, only recorded in research logs. But soon, the Council's security division took interest. One afternoon, while Eli and Lyra were reviewing maintenance schedules in the common room, a loud chime echoed through the apartment. A holographic image flickered into existence, a stern-looking alien in official council robes. Lyra, a Velinary, the figure said. You are required to report to the Galactic Council immediately. There has been an anomaly detected in your living quarters. Bring the human. Eli froze. Anomaly. What kind of anomaly? Lyra's eyes widened. They must have detected our bond. Eli's stomach sank. Our bond? Yes, she said softly. They know. Within minutes, they were escorted to a small but highly secure observation chamber aboard the station. Holographic displays hovered around them, showing fluctuating energy readings, lines, and curves that Eli couldn't fully understand but which Lyra studied intently. You see, she whispered, this is exactly what I feared. Our connection is visible. The council representatives entered the chamber. Tall, imposing figures from multiple species, each clad in formal robes and insignia, studied them silently. One stepped forward, a Velinary elder. Lyra, the elder said sternly, you have bonded with a human. Explain. Lyra straightened. Elder, it was not intentional. It occurred naturally. We have only just begun understanding it. The elder's glowing eyes flickered with curiosity and concern. Such a bond has never been observed before. It is unprecedented. It could destabilize interspecies relations. Eli swallowed nervously. I didn't mean to. I don't even know how it happened. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, a comforting gesture. He is compatible, she said softly. His body and mind resonate with mine. It is not a choice. The elder's eyes narrowed. A human, possessing a Velinary resonance? This is extraordinary. Dangerous, but extraordinary. Another council member spoke, her voice crisp. We must consider containment protocols. Separation may be required to prevent harm to either party. Eli felt panic rise. Separation, you mean? Rip us apart. Lyra squeezed his hand. No, she whispered. We will face this together. Council deliberated. Their discussion a mixture of technical jargon and concerned speculation. Eli and Lyra could only wait, the tension in the chamber almost unbearable. But through it all, the hum between them never faded. It had grown stronger, more insistent, a living thread connecting to very different beings. Finally, the elder turned to them. We will allow temporary observation, he declared. You will remain together under supervision, but any further anomalies may result in enforced separation. Lyra exhaled, relief flooding her features. Eli followed suit, though his mind remained restless, as they returned to their apartment later. The tension between them softened. They had survived the first test, the council's scrutiny, but the threat of forced separation lingered like a shadow. Eli finally spoke, his voice quiet. Lyra, I think I understand what this bond really means. It's not just energy. It's connection. And I don't want to lose it, even if the council tries to separate us. Lyra smiled, a genuine, heartfelt expression. Neither do I, she said softly. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. For the first time since the morning of the strange awakening, Eli felt a sense of calm. The hum in his chest had become more than a strange resonance, it was a promise. The soft hum of Orbital Station 9 was no longer comforting. Instead, it felt like a countdown. Eli could feel the resonance between him and Lyra pulsing stronger than ever, almost like a second heartbeat in his chest. Every time he moved, the pull reacted, tightening, bending reality around him in subtle ways. Lyra sat nearby, quietly adjusting her datapad, though her glowing eyes never left him. She seemed calm, but Eli could sense her nerves. The hum between them had grown so strong that even small gestures, touching a panel, turning a knob, sent faint vibrations through his body. It was beautiful, terrifying, and completely unexplainable. Eli, Lyra said softly. Today the council will decide what happens next. He swallowed. I know, and I don't want to be separated from you. She reached over and touched his hand. The warmth spread through him instantly. I don't want that either, she whispered. But we have to prove that we can control this bond. Otherwise, her voice faltered, otherwise they may force it apart. Eli's heart pounded. He had expected science, experiments, and rules. But the council wasn't going to simply study them, they were going to judge them. Minutes later, a pair of council envoys arrived. One was Velinary, tall and imposing, with silver skin like Lyra's, but more ceremonial robes. The other was a human representative, a thin man with sharp features and nervous energy. They motioned for Eli and Lyra to follow as they walked through the long corridors of the station. Eli felt the hum intensifying. His steps synchronized with Lyra's. Their thoughts flickered together, subtle flashes of emotion, anticipation, curiosity. They entered the council chamber, a vast, circular room bathed in soft blue light. Species from across the galaxy observed silently, floating in suspended seats or hovering platforms. The sheer scale of the audience made Eli's stomach churn. At the center stood the elder of the Velinary Council, the same stern figure who had first questioned them. His eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the soft blue light of the chamber. "Lyra," he began, "you have bonded with a human. Such a phenomenon has never been observed. Explain why this bond should not be severed immediately." Lyra stepped forward. "Elder, it is not a choice. The bond formed naturally. And while humans were never thought capable of such resonance, Eli's energy aligns perfectly with mine. We have been practicing control, learning to synchronize without causing harm. I believe the bond is stable." Eli felt the hum in his chest react to her words, growing stronger, brighter, almost as if their connection was a living entity. He spoke, trying to steady his voice. "We understand each other now. We can control this. Please don't separate us. Not yet. Let us show you what we can do together." A murmur passed through the audience. Many of the alien species leaned forward, curious and skeptical. The elder's eyes narrowed. "A test will be conducted. You will demonstrate control over your resonance. Failure will result in separation." Lyra's hand found Eli's again, and he could feel the warmth flowing through him. The hum shifted, almost like a breath. "We're ready," she whispered. The council's technicians brought forward a platform, circular stage with sensors that could detect every pulse, every energy fluctuation. Eli and Lyra stepped onto it together. The hum surged immediately, stronger than ever, and the audience gasped. "Control your resonance together," the elder commanded. "Synchronize without interference." For the first few seconds, the energy between them surged wildly, causing the sensors to flash red. Eli felt it pulling at him, Lyra's emotions overlapping with his own in wave sphere. "Hope, curiosity, even humor. Focus," Lyra whispered. She closed her eyes, reaching out with her thoughts, not to command, but to harmonize. Eli mirrored her, letting the hum flow naturally. Slowly, the red flashes faded to yellow, then to green. The council watched in stunned silence as the hum stabilized. It wasn't just neutral anymore. It was radiant, a soft glow of energy around them that pulsed in perfect harmony. Every thought, every feeling, every small movement between them synchronized without effort. Eli felt Lyra's joy as if it were his own. He sensed her curiosity, her subtle relief, and even a small playful spark he hadn't expected. And she felt his determination, his cautious hope, and the quiet wonder of a human discovering something beyond imagination. The elder leaned forward. "Remarkable. The bond is stable. The synchronization is unprecedented." Another council member, a tall reptilian being with sharp amber eyes, hissed softly. "Is it safe? For both species?" Lyra opened her eyes. "Yes. We can manage it. We have been careful. This bond does not harm either of us. It strengthens our awareness, enhances understanding, and fosters cooperation." Eli stepped forward, feeling braver than he had since waking up to that first morning. "And it's not just about us. This proves humans can connect, cooperate, and resonate in ways even advanced species didn't believe possible. We can grow together." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then the elder spoke, his voice firm but thoughtful. "You have demonstrated control. You have shown that your bond is not destructive, but constructive. This is a phenomenon that may reshape interspecies relations in this sector." Eli and Lyra exchanged a small, relieved glance. The hum between them had softened, now a calm, steady rhythm that seemed to promise new beginnings. "However," the elder continued, "the council will monitor this bond closely. Any misuse, any imbalance, and we reserve the right to intervene. But for now," he paused, his eyes flicking from Eli to Lyra, You are permitted to remain together." Relief washed over them both. Eli felt the pull of the bond soften into a warm comfort. Lyra's smile, genuine and unguarded, made his chest feel lighter than it had in months. As they left the chamber, floating through the observation galleries, Eli turned to Lyra. "We did it. We proved it." She nodded, her glowing eyes softening. "Yes, together." Over the next few days, life aboard the station shifted subtly. Scientists and technicians became more curious than cautious. Observing the human-velinary bond as a natural marvel rather than a threat, Eli and Lyra continued their daily routines. But the hum between them was constant now. Quiet reassurance that neither was alone. They learned to communicate with a combination of thoughts and words, their minds overlapping in moments of joy, curiosity, and even laughter. Simple tasks became exercises in synchronization, fixing circuits, calibrating systems, or preparing meals. Every small success strengthened the bond, making each day brighter, more vibrant. One evening, while floating near the observation deck, Eli looked out at the swirling stars and planets beyond. "Lyra," he said softly, "do you ever think about what would have happened if this bond never existed?" She looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the light of distant suns. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But then I remembered that morning. The device, the resonance, the moment I whispered that you were compatible, and I know we were meant to find each other." Eli smiled. "Me too. It's strange, isn't it? That something so impossible could happen just because we exist." Lyra reached out, touching his hand. The hum surged gently at their contact, a soft reminder of the bond they shared. "The universe works in mysterious ways," she whispered. "And sometimes, the impossible is the beginning of everything." In the weeks that followed, the bond became stronger, yet more refined. Eli could sense Lyra's thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed. She could feel his intentions and moods. They moved almost instinctively. Understanding one another without needing words, the council monitored them, but reports became positive. The bond was stable, constructive, and even inspiring to other species aboard the station. Humans, once underestimated, were now seen in a new light as species capable of forming deep, transformative connections even with beings from distant worlds. Eli realized then that the bond wasn't just about him and Lyra. It was proof that humans could rise, adapt, and influence the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. One night, as the station orbited silently around a distant planet, Eli and Lyra floated together in the observation chamber, hands intertwined. The soft hum between them pulsed steadily, a reminder of everything they had endured and everything they had achieved. Lyra whispered, her voice barely audible that morning. "When I straddled you and whispered you were compatible, I didn't know what it would lead to, but now I do. It led to this, to us, to a future where we change everything together." Eli smiled, the hum resonating warmly in his chest. "Then let's make it a future worth living." And as they looked out at the stars, the station glowing softly around them, the impossible had become reality. Two very different beings, human and velinary, bonded not just by science, but by understanding, courage, and the quiet power of connection. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. Humanity had proven that even in a universe of countless stars, their spirit, their adaptability, and their hearts could shine brighter than anyone expected. And for Eli and Lyra, the journey had only just begun.